Chapter 16. And when David was a little past the top of the hill, behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, met him with a couple of asses saddled, and upon them 200 loaves of bread, and 100 bunches of raisins, and 100 of summer fruits, and a bottle of wine. And the king said unto Ziba, What meanest thou by these? And Ziba said, The asses be for the king's household to ride on, and the bread and summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine that such as be faint in the wilderness may drink. And the king said, And where is thy master's son? And Ziba said unto the king, Behold, he abideth at Jerusalem, for he said, Today shall the house of Israel restore me the kingdom of my father. And then said the king to Ziba, Behold, thine are all that pertained unto Mephibosheth. And Ziba said, I humbly beseech thee that I may find grace in thy sight, my lord, O king. And when David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Gera. He came forth and cursed still as he came. And he cast stones at David, and all the servants of the king David, and all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. And thus said Shimei when he cursed, Come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial. The Lord hath returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. And the Lord delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son, and behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. Then said Abishai the son of Zeruiah unto the king, Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. And the king said, What have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord hath said unto him, Curse David. Who shall then say, Wherefore hast thou done so? And David said to Abishai and to all his servants, Behold, my son, which came forth of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjamite do it? Let him alone, and let him curse, for the Lord hath bidden him. It may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, and that the Lord will requite me good for his cursing this day. And as David and his men went by the way, Shimei went along on the hillside over against him, and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him, and cast dust. And the king and all the people that were with him came weary, and refreshed themselves there. And Absalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel with him. And it came to pass, when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, was come unto Absalom, that Hushai said unto Absalom, God save the king, God save the king. And Absalom said to Hushai, Is this thy kindness to thy friend? Why wentest thou not with thy friend? And Hushai said unto Absalom, Nay, but whom the Lord and this people and all the men of Israel choose, his will I be, and with him will I abide. And again, whom shall I serve? Shall I not serve in the presence of his son? As I have served in thy father's presence, so will I be in thy presence. Then said Absalom to Ahithophel, Give counsel among you what we should do. And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, Go in unto thy father's concubines, which he hath left to keep the house, and all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father. Then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong. So they spread Absalom a tent on the top of the house, and Absalom went in unto his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. And the counsel of Ahithophel, which he counseled in those days, was as if a man had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the counsel of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. There are three major parts of this chapter. And the first one is Ziba, who is one of David's servants, and he has assigned Ziba and Ziba's 15 sons to look after one of Jonathan's sons, who is lame in his feet. And basically, the son has said that since the son is going to be living in the palace with David and eating there and be totally looked after, Ziba can have everything that go from the estates that Ziba's looking after. And Ziba shows up with a couple of asses and 200 loaves of bread and some raisins and some summer fruit and some wine. And David asks, where is your master? And Ziba says that the master's waiting in Jerusalem for the people to make him the king again in place of his father. Now Absalom's going to be made king, but David is so disgusted that he says to Ziba, everything that was your master's I'm going to give to you. Now in essence it already was. He didn't own it, but he got all the good that came from it. We'll find out later that this wasn't quite the way everything was. The second part of this is the man called Shimei, who is also of the household of Saul. And he comes and he curses David. And one of David's warrior soldiers says, you know, why should he do this? Let me just go and cut off this guy's head. You know, he wants to use his tongue to curse you. I'll just take his tongue off the rest of his body, and you know, that'll be the trick. And David says no, and he says no for a couple of reasons. First off, he says maybe God has told him to come and curse me. Maybe this is something I deserve. And he also says that maybe, well, not maybe, but the cursing of Shimei is nothing compared to the humiliation that David is suffering and the brokenheartedness David is suffering because David's son Absalom is overthrowing his father. And so he tells him, just leave Shimei alone. And then the last one is where David's chief counselor Ahithophel, a man that David relied on for a huge amount of advice and to look after things, is now supporting Absalom. And Absalom gets to Jerusalem and says, you know, to this man now, who's a ruler, and who is basically so profound in his rulings, so wise in his rulings, that it says, or his statements or suggestions, that it's like going to an oracle or somebody who can give you prophecy or something. That's the English. Now, it isn't that he's giving prophecy, but he's giving really, really great advice to David, and he's known for that. And now he's sided with Absalom. And Absalom is told by this man, Ahithophel, that what Absalom needs to do is he needs to go and essentially rape David's concubines. And the reason for doing that is that would put such a huge breach between David and Absalom, because there wasn't anything that was more disgusting to David or to the people than that there would be no possibility of David ever forgiving Absalom and David and Absalom ever coming back together again, as had happened when David had killed his stepbrother. And the reason for that was that all the other people who were supporting Absalom would know the breach was so great that their support of Absalom to get him to be king also put them in David's really bad light, and would see to it that they would fight all the stronger to defend Absalom. And this was the goal of Ahithophel, and that would give him even more power as Absalom's counselor and the one who gave him the good advice that saw to it that it happened. Amazing things these people think of in politics, and how to destroy relationships and how to manipulate people. And we see time and time and time again, the desire to manipulate people is the greatest cause of so much misery. And what we need to learn from this is we do not use people, we do not manipulate people. That's the lesson the Lord is trying to get us to learn here.